Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to Who'd Win and Why. And this time we've got Gru from Illumination's Despicable Me franchise going up against Megamind from DreamWorks Megamind. These two animated bad guys turned heroes are two of the most over-the-top in their trade, to say the least, and their gadgets and technology have taken them very far in and out of battle. And today it's time for me to decide who I think would win in a despicable duel to the death. So, who'd win and why? Let's find out! Alright, so first we're going to talk about Gru. Born into a family where villainy was literally the family business, Felonius Gru, yes that's his real name, was committing evil deeds from a very early age. Even when he was just a little kid, Gru stole the Queen of England's imperial state crown from another supervillain, Scarlet Overkill, which was also when he met Minions, short yellow creatures that existed since the beginning of time and only lived to serve the most evil leader they could find. The Minions decided to join Gru and serve him throughout his career as a villain, and with the help of his scientist accomplice Dr. Nefario, Gru was set up to become one of the greatest of them all. Unfortunately, as more supervillains began coming into the spotlight, including Vector, who was secretly the son of the president of the Bank of Evil, it was starting to become apparent that Gru was simply falling short. While Vector was stealing the Great Pyramid of Giza, Gru was stealing small replicas of famous landmarks from Las Vegas, obviously not quite up to par. However, Gru planned to change all of this by plotting to shrink the moon and steal it from Earth's orbit, though in order to pull this off, he would need to acquire the shrink ray owned by Vector. So, he adopted 3 children from an orphanage named Margot, Edith, and Agnes as part of his convoluted plot to break into Vector's lair and steal the shrink ray, which involved having the girls try to sell Vector cookies as a distraction. And Gru's plan was a success, but wouldn't you know it, the girls rubbed off on Gru and he had a change of heart. And when the girls were kidnapped by Vector, Gru stopped at nothing to save them. In no time, Gru rescued the girls, returned the moon, stopped his evil schemes, and became a real responsible father. He even joined the ranks of the Anti-Villain League where he met his future wife, Lucy Wilde, taking on the great hero career he never in a million years thought he would have. Despite what you may think given his enormous height and freakishly long nose, Gru is in fact just a regular human, but even then he's got some astounding physical feats. For instance, Gru has the strength necessary to shatter a drinking glass with just one squeeze of his hand and to completely knock one of Vector's sharks out cold with a single punch. The latter feat is particularly noteworthy considering that it's nearly impossible for a human being to be able to muster enough force to take out a 500-pound shark even when not underwater, and the fact that he did it so casually only adds to the accomplishment. But his speed speaks even greater volumes, as shown by his dodging and weaving between multiple missiles shot at him by Vector. Considering that these missiles never create a sonic boom during their flight time, it's pretty safe to assume that they're not breaking the sound barrier during this scene, and thus are subsonic missiles. The average subsonic missile travels at around 70% the speed of sound, meaning that Gru is capable of reacting and moving at speeds that exceed 530 miles per hour, and he's fairly agile on his feet, making him tough to tag even in up-close combat. But his durability is arguably his most impressive physical trait. Not only has he shaken off many considerable impact forces such as various falls and punches, he once survived getting hit by dozens of Vector's missiles and other weapons all at the same time, creating an explosion visible from multiple blocks away and leaving behind a crater roughly 10 feet in diameter. For a normal guy, Gru's pulled off some things far beyond human capabilities, and he's got far more to him as well thanks to the power of technology. There have been a lot of inventions Gru has used throughout his plots and adventures, most of which built by Dr. Nefario, but he clearly has his favorites which he keeps on hand at all times. First up is his signature freeze ray, which can easily encompass all or parts of a human body with ice with just one focused blast. It's even been shown freezing 3 people in one shot, and not surprisingly, it requires a large amount of focused or intense heat to be able to melt the ice completely and free the target. His other main weapon that he likes to carry is his super target gun, which creates a big fiery ball that can be quickly formed and fired. And while we have seen regular humans survive being in very close proximity to the fireball, it's still powerful enough to demolish an amusement park game stand, and it can lock onto targets, making it very difficult to avoid. He also carries around a couple of other useful items, including his X-ray goggles, which allow him to see through anything, and the lipstick tape taser given to him by Lucy, which expels powerful electric shocks that can stun opponents upon contact and even knock them out with enough constant exposure. And while he doesn't carry around these other inventions without preparation beforehand, Gru has also used a jetpack, a grapple gun, a flamethrower, an inflation gun, the infamous fart gun, shrink ray, and a lot more. Not to mention his stealth suit used in the third movie that has various modes, including for camouflaging and hovering. But he doesn't just rely on his arsenal. He's a surprisingly competent hand-to-hand fighter, as shown when he was able to keep up with supervillain Balthazar Bratt, who can dance his way around just about anything, and he's also acquired victories against Vector and El Macho, of course. Lastly, he does have his crazy huge army of minions which can help him accomplish various tasks with varying degrees of competence, though he usually only has 2 or 3 with him at any given moment unless a specific plan of his requires more. While Gru has managed to accomplish quite a lot in both his days as a villain and as a hero, he's still prone to failure when he doesn't know what he's getting himself into, as shown multiple times throughout the movies. Also, Gru has a bad habit of sometimes announcing his weapon right before he actually uses it, which obviously doesn't mesh very well with the element of surprise. But when you look past all of that, Felonius Gru is devoted, hard-working, and will go to incredible lengths to accomplish his goals. And if you dare get in the way or mess with his family, you better believe that he's gonna take you down hard, quick, and of course, despicably. Alright, so now it's time to move over to Megamind. Both Megamind and his arch-rival Metro Man were sent to Earth from their own doomed planets when they were babies, but their respective childhoods were anything but similar. Metro Man grew up in a loving family, was born with superpowers, and was respected by his peers, eventually becoming the great superhero of Metro City. Megamind grew up in prison where he was taught to use his amazing intellect for evil and was neglected by his peers, eventually becoming Metro City's sort of greatest supervillain, believing it was all he knew how to do. Throughout the many years following, Megamind and Metro Man were mortal enemies, fighting each other for the fate of the city and its citizens, with Metro Man taking victory and putting Megamind back behind bars every single time. That is, until Megamind hit Metro Man with a devastating solar-powered blast and seemingly killed him, leaving Megamind and his sidekick Minion, an alien fish in a giant robotic gorilla suit, to do whatever they wanted with no one to stop them. However, after suffering the intense boredom of having no one to do battle with for weeks on end, Megamind was inspired to create a new superhero using Metro Man's DNA, turning wimpy, creepy nerd Hal Stewart into Titan, the new Metro Man. Megamind attempted to mold him into a great hero, but when Titan was rejected by news reporter Roxanne, who Megamind was currently dating at the time in disguise, long story, Titan ditched the hero gig and started using his new powers for straight-up evil intentions, and was on the verge of destroying the city. Horrified at what he created, Megamind decided to change from his criminal and deceptive ways and attempted to stop Titan alongside Roxanne and Minion. And while it took a while to find his footing, Megamind succeeded in taking down Titan and saving Metro City, all without the help of Metro Man, who was discovered to still be alive. Megamind became the new great hero of the city, proving to him that he was always capable of far more than just being bad. Likely thanks to his extraterrestrial physiology, Megamind possesses some rather impressive physical capabilities in addition to his brilliant mind. Unfortunately, this doesn't extend to his physical pure brute strength very much, as his strength very obviously doesn't appear to outmatch that of any normal human. But what he lacks in his own physical power, he more than makes up for with his alien durability. Not only has he taken many heavy punches from Titan, who we know can break and throw huge buildings pretty much effortlessly, he also survived getting completely stomped on by his own building-sized robot from Megamind the Button of Doom, known as Megamind. And while he was far from unfazed by the assault, he was still able to get back in action without wasting any time. And his durability feats don't stop there, as he's fallen hundreds of feet while in his mech suit and was in close proximity to a massive explosion caused by Titan ramming into a gasoline truck. And while his running speed isn't remarkable, similar to his strength level, he has been shown reacting to and dodging Titan's heat vision, allowing him to evade surprisingly quick attacks. Technically, Megamind has increased his strength and speed before by constructing his own gauntlets and jetpack, and while they may not have lasted long, he did later create a significantly superior supersuit designed to replicate all of Metro Man and Titan's powers, including super strength, flight, X-ray, and heat vision, though he obviously doesn't have this equipment on him at all times, unlike some of his other tech. The main weapon that you can always see Megamind carrying is his D-gun, which we've mostly seen used as a dehydration blaster, turning the target into a dehydrated cube that can only be restored to normal through contact with water. However, we've also seen it blast apart doors and brick walls thanks to its destroy setting, which of course destroys whatever target it's fired at. But believe it or not, the D-gun has even more options than that, which haven't been shown on screen, but nonetheless could create devastating results. With its decompress function, it can reduce the target's pressure. With its debilitate function, it can physically weaken the target. With its demoralize function, it can cause the target to lose all sense of confidence, and with its death ray function, it can kill the target in a single shot. The gun also has a couple of other obscure settings, like deregulate for removing regulations, and decoupage for decorating. And while it isn't an offensive weapon, Megamind also has his hologram watch that can change his appearance to that of anyone he wants, real or made up. We've also seen the use of the unconscious spray and the forget-me stick, though these are carried by Minion, not Megamind. And of course, while he may not be the best with his words during conversation, Megamind is still a genius through and through, and has not only come up with a ton of plans over the years, but has also invented a lot of impressive technology kept around his lair, including a diffuser gun, a copper dome, various suits and mechs, and his enormous army of brainbots, tiny flying robot minions. He's got well over 100 of these guys, and he can summon any or all of them at any point for rescuing, attacking, and for deploying or giving him any of his stored inventions from his lair, which can definitely come in handy if he gets himself into trouble. Megamind may have been through a lot